For thousands of years, the people living on the Tonle Sap Lake drew their subsistence from a unique ecosystem. The waters of the Mekong River, fed and swollen in the wet season by rain and melting glaciers, cannot all flow to the sea. When they meet the Tonle Sap River, they cause the river to reverse direction and to fill up the Tonle Sap Lake, expanding its surface for miles. The rise and subsequent fall in the dry season of the water level of the lake is responsible for the rhythm of life in Cambodia and the rest of the Mekong watershed. Forest, fish, birds, animals and crops, they all interrelate, depending on this extremely delicate natural process. And human beings, respecting its balance, are the beneficiaries. But times are changing. In Cambodia's recent history, a vicious war, along with people, has killed also the capacity of individuals to relate to the community and adapt their behaviour to the changing necessities. In the struggle to increase their standard of living, some factors are in the control of the farmers and some are not. People are so poor that in certain circumstances, just to be able to survive, they grab what they can get. The pressure on the environment is now growing even more dramatically as the population grows rapidly. 6 million in 1975, 4 million in 1979 after the fall of the Pol Pot regime, and 12 million now at the beginning of the third millennium. So farmers are changing from pure subsistence to a more market-orientated economy, and a land of plenty is becoming a land of excessive exploitation. Fish stocks, so abundant in the past, are now diminishing each year. Sizes are smaller. The number of species is shrinking. The forest too is deteriorating. More people need more rice, and to obtain it, trees have to be cut and forest has to be cleared to free land to gain more rice fields. The government is pushing to improve rice production for export, making the situation even worse. Each year, from all over the country, new people are coming to live on the lake, increasing the pressure on the lake's resources. What is more and more visible now around the settlements is their waste, poisoning waters and earth. To overcome this trend, people need to change their behaviour to create a new balance between human beings and nature. This requires education and a different way of looking at the surrounding reality and the environment. After the destruction of recent history, the demographic explosion will soon give the young generation a special role to play. Tom Peak, just 13, knows perfectly well that being a child in Cambodia means having more responsibilities than in most other parts of the world. At school, Tom Peak learns what every boy and girl in the world learns at school. And in the afternoon, in the free time, like every boy and girl in the world, she likes playing with her friends. Her parents are fisherfolk, and often she hears them complaining about their meagre catch. They never manage to get as many fish as they used to. The causes are always the same: the exhaustive fishing of the commercial fisheries, illegal fishing gear, the destruction of the flooded forest, the pollution of the water caused by chemicals used in agriculture. She would like to understand more about it, as she already knows that whatever she will be doing in her future, so much of her life will depend on the resources of the lake. One day, Tom Peak, together with her schoolmates, has the chance to attend an environmental education course at the GECKO Centre in the small floating village of Tonle Sap, near the town of Siem Reap. Here, a group of teachers using practical interactive games introduce them to some of the important issues they need to know to help sustain the lake's ecosystem for the future. A good way to catch their attention is by talking about the problems brought by pollution. Here, Tom Peak, whose name means large diamond, divides the rubbish she might find near and in the lake into different baskets, depending if it's biodegradable or not.
I learned the importance of the flooded forest. It's a good habitat for fish to lay their eggs, and a good shelter for birds. The flooded forest provides also a good quantity of wood to people. They used it as firewood, making charcoal, or they use it to build their houses. Cutting too much the forest means ruining the environment, and even the number of fish will be reduced. If we cut the flooded forest, there will be no place for the fish to lay their eggs, so its number will go down very quickly.
After this first interactive game, the teacher is helping Tom Peak and her friends analyze elements which have a direct impact in saving or spoiling the environment. The same fishing tools and the same fishing techniques some of their parents, day after day, use on the lake. They will understand why the mesh size of nets are important to avoid catching too many baby fish, why they shouldn't cut branches to make fish traps, spoiling the forest, and why they shouldn't use batteries and electroshock. They may obtain more fish, but deplete the fish population of the lake. They will learn that clearing the flooded forest to free land for agriculture could mean destroying the habitat of hundreds of species of fish and birds. If these are the only ways to bring food on the table, soon there will be no more food to bring on the table. So they will learn that in the community of Kampong Pluk, farmers have decided to stop cultivating beans, to let the flooded forest grow again, to restore the natural ecosystem. Regarding the cultivated areas, they will be shown how the misuse of fertilizers and pesticides can damage the ecosystem. They will learn how the existence of microorganisms is essential for production and biodiversity. Ultimately, looking at the various environments of the lake, children learn about the connections between the different components of the ecosystem and the threats endangering plants, fish, and animals. Once at home, hopefully, many of them will talk about these issues with their parents, stimulating a debate among them.
One big issue on the Tonle Sap Great Lake is that everybody has been basically working to survive. There is no real awareness of environmental issues. Families are very poor. They are harvesting the resources and totally dependent on the resources. To try to enhance environmental awareness for long-term management of the resources, we bring in children twice a week and put them through a participatory environmental education program.
They've been doing this for 4 years now, and have put more than 2,000 children through the educational program. Now there is talk of similar activities around the lake in other communities, building floating environmental education centres. Out of their experience, started in 1999, the GECKO Centre has developed a manual focusing on issues related to the local forest, wildlife, water resources and waste. They will also train school teachers as part of a national programme for integrating environmental education within the school system. The teachers will then utilise the manual to teach, using the same principles and the same methodology throughout the country.
Everything we are doing with this environmental center is based on the lifestyle of the people. The rise and fall of this great lake, everything is interconnected. And the children are the future of the country right now, and we need to be looking very carefully at what are the real environmental problems facing this resource, and how can these problems be addressed today and tomorrow and into the future.
For Tom Peake and her friends, it's now time to go out for a ride and experience directly what they have been studying during the day. They are looking at the same things they have seen every day of their lives, but now they are seeing them from a different angle, with different eyes. They have learnt that the environment is a delicate machine and that they are part of it. As long as they respect their world will be a cradle for them. And only a healthy ecosystem will have the strength and the diversity to support the increase of productivity needed to feed the coming generations of a growing population.